There's something quietly devastating that happens as we age, and yet few people talk about it until it's too late. After the age of 60, one of the most significant predictors of independence, vitality, and even lifespan is the strength of your legs, not your cholesterol, not your weight, not even your blood pressure. It's your legs. In fact, studies published in the journals of gerontology have shown that lower extremity strength, particularly in the quadriceps, glutes, and calf muscles, is one of the strongest correlates to mobility, balance, cognitive function, and mortality risk in older adults. When your legs weaken, everything else begins to follow. Balance declines, fall risk increases, daily movement shrinks, and with it, your brain's neuroplasticity and cardiovascular health also start to decline. But here's what most people misunderstand. Muscle loss in the legs after 60 isn't just about inactivity. Yes, inactivity plays a role, but behind the scenes, complex physiological changes driven by nutrient absorption, hormonal shifts, mitochondrial function, and nervous system signaling are silently eroding muscle mass. The good news, and this is where today's science gets profoundly hopeful, is that certain micronutrients, when properly targeted, can dramatically support muscle strength, nerve function, and joint stability in people over 60. The problem is that many seniors focus on protein and exercise, which are crucial, but overlook how specific vitamins act as the catalysts, the switches that turn on the machinery inside your muscles, bones, and neurons. Today, we're going to zero in on 3 vitamins that are scientifically shown to improve leg strength, fast-track recovery, and protect against the slow march of sarcopenia, the medical term for age muscle loss. Throughout this talk, I'll walk you through, number 1, the vitamin that powers your mitochondria and keeps muscle fiber strong. Number 2, the vitamin that supports neuromuscular control and protects against falls. Number 3, the vitamin that regulates inflammation and keeps joints mobile, reducing pain and stiffness. You'll also learn exactly why these nutrients work, what's happening inside your body as you take them, and how to apply this knowledge immediately with simple science-backed protocol. Because ultimately, stronger legs aren't just about looking better or walking easier. They represent your independence, your ability to live fully, to travel, to play with your grandchildren, and to maintain cognitive sharpness. Since movement directly supports brain health through mechanisms like BDNF, brain-driven neurotrophic factor. So let's dive into the real science, not hype, but data-driven tools you can trust. If you're over 60, you've probably heard that vitamin D is important for your bones. And that's true, but what most people don't realize is that vitamin D3 is equally, if not more, vital for your muscles and your nervous system, particularly when it comes to maintaining strong, stable legs. Let's break this down scientifically. Muscle movement is not just about muscle fibers contracting. It's about a precise and constant conversation between your nervous system and your muscle cells. This process is called neuromuscular signaling. Think of it like a well-coordinated orchestra. Nerves send electrical impulses, muscles respond with contraction, and your brain integrates all of it to maintain balance, posture, and coordinated movement. Now, here's where vitamin D3 enters the picture. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, Bischoff-Ferrari et al., 2004, shows that vitamin D receptors exist directly in muscle tissue. When vitamin D binds to these receptors, it enhances muscle fiber strength, particularly in type 2 fibers. The fast twitch fibers responsible for power, balance, and fall prevention. Without sufficient vitamin D3, these receptors don't activate properly. The result? Weaker muscle contractions, slower reflexes, and an increased risk of falls, which are one of the leading causes of hospitalization and disability in seniors. Have you noticed moments where standing up feels shakier than it used to? Or you feel less confident walking on uneven surfaces? This may not be simply old age. It may be your vitamin D levels falling below optimal. A meta-analysis published in the BMJ 2010 reviewed data from over 30,000 participants and found that vitamin D supplementation significantly reduced the risk of falls by improving muscle strength and neuromuscular function. But it goes deeper. Vitamin D3 also supports calcium regulation inside your muscle cells. Calcium ions are essential for triggering muscle contractions. When vitamin D is deficient, calcium metabolism is disrupted, impairing the entire contraction relaxation cycle of your muscles. In practical terms, poor vitamin D equals impaired calcium handling equals weaker, less responsive muscles. And there's also a fascinating neurological connection. Vitamin D influences neurotransmitter production, including dopamine and serotonin, both of which play roles in motor control and mood regulation. This is why low vitamin D has been associated with both muscle weakness and depressive symptoms in older adults, two factors that can compound one another. Now, let's talk actionable tools. A simple protocol to apply is this: dosage. For most adults over 60, the sweet spot often falls between 2,000 IU and 4,000 IU per day, depending on your current levels. Always consult your physician and get your blood levels checked. Optimal serum levels typically range between 40 to 60 N/ml. Timing: take vitamin D3 in the morning with a fat soluble, so pairing it with healthy fats like olive oil, eggs, or avocado enhances absorption. Combine it with vitamin K2, which we'll cover shortly, to ensure that the calcium mobilized by vitamin D is properly directed into your bones, not your artery. One important note: sunlight is nature's original vitamin D3 source. However, as skin thins with age, our ability to synthesize vitamin D declines dramatically. That's why supplementation often becomes critical after 60. The takeaway is this: vitamin D3 isn't optional if you want stronger legs. It's a molecular activator that empowers your muscles and nervous system to work together, keeping you mobile, confident, and stable as you age. If you've ever felt tingling in your feet, a slight unsteadiness when you walk, or occasional numbness in your legs, you may have chalked it up to just aging. But behind many of these subtle and often ignored symptoms lies a quiet deficiency that can profoundly weaken leg strength: vitamin B12. Vitamin B12, or cobalamin, is one of the most critical vitamins for maintaining a healthy nervous system, particularly the peripheral nerves that control your legs and balance. Unlike some vitamins that your body stores easily, B12 absorption becomes significantly impaired with age. Studies from the Framingham Offspring Study have shown that as many as 20% of adults over 60 may have suboptimal or deficient B12 levels, often without realizing it. Why does this matter so much for your legs? Because every step you take is controlled by a complex network of nerves running from your spinal cord to your legs, feet, and toes. These nerves are coated in a protective sheath called myelin, which acts like the insulation on electrical wires, allowing signals to travel rapidly and smoothly. Here's what the research shows. Vitamin B12 is absolutely essential for producing and maintaining myelin. Without sufficient B12, these nerve sheaths begin to degrade, a process known as demyelination. As this occurs, the signals from your brain to your legs become weaker, delayed, or even misdirected. You may feel clumsiness, balance issues, or weakness, even if your muscles themselves are still relatively strong. In a landmark study published in Neurology, 2004, researchers found that B12 deficiency directly impairs sensory nerve conduction, meaning your brain receives delayed or incomplete information about where your legs are in space. This directly impacts balance and coordination, two pillars of leg strength and fall prevention. But B12's influence doesn't stop at the nervous system. It also plays a vital role in muscle activation. If your nerves can't fire properly, your muscles can't contract properly. This explains why B12 deficiency often leads to muscle weakness, especially in the lower limbs. Have you ever stood up quickly and felt like your legs weren't quite ready to support you? That hesitancy, that split-second instability, that can often be traced back to impaired nerve function with B12 deficiency as a silent culprit. So how do you ensure you're getting enough? A simple tool to apply is this dosage. For most adults over 60, a daily intake of 500 cmil to 1,000 mils of weekvegetables.com is often recommended for supplementation, especially if absorption is impaired. Some may need even higher doses if deficiency is significant. Delivery method. Here's a crucial point. Oral B12 can be poorly absorbed in many seniors due to reduced stomach acid and intrinsic factor. Sublingual tablets absorbed under the tongue or periodic B12 injections may offer superior absorption. Testing. Ask your healthcare provider to check both your serum B12 and methylmalonic acid, MMA, is a more sensitive marker for early B12 deficiency that may not yet show up on basic blood panels. Timing. B12 can be taken any time of day, but morning is often preferred as it may also support cognitive alertness. You might be wondering, why does B12 deficiency become more common with age? The answer lies in the gut. As we get older, the stomach produces less hydrochloric acid, which is required to release B12 from food. Conditions like atrophic gastritis, long-term use of acid-reducing medications, or even years of undiagnosed autoimmune processes such as pernicious anemia can further impair B12 absorption. This is why many seniors, even those who eat meat, eggs, and dairy, still end up with low B12. It's not just intake, it's absorption. If this insight is helping you, consider subscribing. There's much more science-backed, practical content like this that can transform your health after 60. The bottom line, B12 acts like an electrician for your body, ensuring that every nerve signal to your legs is delivered with speed, clarity, and precision. When you support your nervous system with B12, you're not just improving muscle strength, you're improving control, stability, and confidence with every step. Most people associate vitamin K with blood clotting, but few realize that a very specific form, vitamin K2, plays a profound role in keeping your legs strong, stable, and pain-free as you age. In fact, without enough K2, you may be quietly sabotaging your joints, bones, and even your ability to walk with confidence. Let's start with a basic but powerful concept. Calcium needs direction. Calcium is essential for strong bones, but if it ends up in the wrong places, such as your arteries, soft tissues, or joint spaces, it can contribute to stiffness, restricted movement, and even vascular problems. This is where vitamin K2 comes in. Research published in Osteoporosis International 2013 shows that K2 activates proteins like osteocalcin and matrix GLA protein, MGP, which guide calcium into your bones and prevent it from accumulating in your arteries and joints. In simple terms, vitamin K2 acts like a traffic cop for calcium, ensuring it goes where it's needed and stays out of where it can cause harm. Have you ever noticed how some people over 60 develop joint stiffness or lose flexibility, even if they don't have full-blown arthritis? Part of this can be traced to inappropriate calcium deposition in soft tissues, something K2 helps prevent. But the benefits extend beyond bone and joint health. Recent studies, including one in thrombosis and hemostasis, 2015, suggest that vitamin K2 may improve arterial flexibility. Why does this matter for your legs? Because better blood flow means better oxygen and nutrient delivery to your working muscles, which supports endurance, faster recovery, and stronger performance. Let's bring this home to your legs. With sufficient K2, your joints remain flexible, reducing pain and stiffness during movement. Your bones stay dense and resilient, reducing fracture risk. Your muscles receive better circulation, improving strength and endurance. And here's a fascinating point many overlook. K2 works synergistically with vitamin D3, which we discussed earlier. Vitamin D3 increases calcium absorption, while K2 ensures that the extra calcium doesn't end up in the wrong places. This combination is crucial for anyone aiming to strengthen their legs safely after 60. A simple protocol to apply is this: dosage for most adults over 60, 100 to 200 mg per day of vitamin K2 in the form of MK7. Menaquinone 7 is often ideal. MK7 has a longer half-life and stays active in the body longer compared to other forms. Timing: take K2 alongside your vitamin D3 and a fat, protein, and meal to maximize absorption. Safety note: if you are on blood thinners like warfarin, always consult your physician before supplementing with vitamin K2 as it can interact with your medication. You might be wondering, can you get K2 from food? Yes, but it's limited. The richest sources are fermented foods like natto, a Japanese fermented soybean product, certain cheeses like Gouda or Brie, and pastured egg yolks. However, most Western diets are low in K2-rich foods, which is why supplementation often becomes necessary for optimal leg and joint health after 60. By incorporating K2, you're not only supporting stronger bones and more flexible joints, you're preserving your ability to walk, climb stairs, garden, play, and enjoy a fully mobile, independent life as you age. Let's take a moment to zoom in down to the cellular level into a part of your body that holds enormous influence over your leg strength: your mitochondria. Often called the powerhouses of the cell, mitochondria generate the energy in the form of ATP that every muscle fiber relies on to contract, relax, and repair. Whether you're climbing stairs, standing from a chair, or simply balancing, your muscles are constantly drawing on mitochondrial energy. And after 60, mitochondrial function naturally begins to decline, a process that contributes heavily to sarcopenia and fatigue. Here's where things get fascinating. Several vitamins we've discussed, particularly vitamin D3, B12, and K2, directly or indirectly support mitochondrial health. But understanding how gives you the power to act intentionally. First, let's start with the role of mitochondrial density. Studies published in the Journal of Applied Physiology 2005 have shown that older adults with higher mitochondrial density experience significantly greater muscle endurance and strength. When mitochondria decline, muscles fatigue more quickly, recover more slowly, and shrink due to inefficient energy production. What's happening in your body when this occurs is essentially an energy bottleneck. The nutrients required to drive mitochondrial function, coenzymes, vitamins, and minerals, become scarce or poorly absorbed as we age. Take vitamin B12, for example. It's crucial for the conversion of homocysteine into methionine, a key reaction that helps produce SAMe, sadinodiesylmethionine, which supports methylation reactions essential for mitochondrial gene expression. Without sufficient B12, the mitochondria's ability to regulate energy output diminishes. Then there's vitamin D3. Research from the Journal of Steroid Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, 2018, indicates that vitamin D receptors exist directly on mitochondria themselves. Activation of these receptors improves mitochondrial efficiency, reducing oxidative stress and enhancing ATP output, literally allowing your muscles to generate energy more cleanly and effectively. Vitamin K2 plays a subtler but equally important role. While it's well known for calcium regulation, emerging studies suggest K2 may support mitochondrial membranes by modulating oxidative stress, allowing mitochondria to function more efficiently under physical load. But mitochondria don't just influence strength, they also affect muscle repair. Every time you use your legs, Whether through light exercise, walking, or strength training, you create micro tears in muscle fibers. Mitochondria supply the energy required for your cells to repair these tears, build new fibers, and adapt to stress. If mitochondrial function falters, your muscles struggle to recover, adapt, and grow. You might have noticed moments where your legs tire faster than they used to, or where recovery from simple activities takes longer. This is often not just aging, it's mitochondrial underperformance compounded by nutrient gaps. A simple protocol to apply is this: exercise regularly, particularly walking, light resistance training, and balance exercises. Physical activity is one of the strongest natural stimulators of mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new mitochondria. Support mitochondrial nutrients. In addition to vitamins D3, B12, and K2, you may consider speaking with your physician about adding supplements like coenzyme Q10, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids, which also play supporting roles. Prioritize sleep and circadian rhythm alignment. And SB line function is tightly linked to your body's internal clock. Getting bright morning light exposure and consistent sleep supports mitochondrial gene regulation. Time your nutrients properly. Take vitamin D3 and K2 with your first meal of the day to align with your circadian rhythm and maximize utilization when your body's metabolic demand begins rising. The empowering truth here is that you're not helpless against declining energy or weakening legs. By feeding your mitochondria and giving them the vitamins and cofactors they require, you support the very engines that power your mobility, stability, and confidence in every step. If you're over 60, you may have noticed that your legs sometimes feel heavy, stiff, or sore, even when you haven't done anything strenuous. What many people don't realize is that behind this discomfort often lies a slow, persistent process called inflammaging, a term scientists use to describe chronic, low-grade inflammation that accumulates with age. This type of inflammation isn't the dramatic swelling you might see after an injury. Instead, it's a constant, subtle presence in your body that gradually impairs muscle function, joint mobility, and even your ability to rebuild strength. Here's where science gives us real hope. Several vitamins, including D3, B12, and K2, don't just support muscle strength directly, they also help modulate the very inflammation that can quietly weaken your legs. Let's start with vitamin D3. Studies published in the Journal of Immunology 2012 have shown that vitamin D has a regulatory effect on the immune system. Specifically, it reduces the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, molecules like TNF-alpha and interleukin-6, IL-6, that fuel chronic inflammation. Lower levels of these cytokines mean less stiffness, less joint discomfort, and more efficient muscle recovery after physical activity. Have you ever wondered why some days your legs feel achy for no clear reason? That may be your immune system's inflammatory tone being elevated. When vitamin D3 levels are sufficient, this background inflammation tends to calm, creating a more favorable environment for muscle growth and joint function. Vitamin B12 also contributes to inflammation control, though by a slightly different mechanism. B12 deficiency is associated with elevated homocysteine, an amino acid that, when too high, promotes vascular inflammation and impairs blood flow to muscles and joints. Studies in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2002 demonstrated that correcting B12 deficiency can lower homocysteine levels, reducing this inflammatory load and improving overall circulation to working muscles. Vitamin K2 brings yet another layer of support. Beyond its role in calcium regulation, emerging research in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry 2015 suggests that K2 may suppress oxidative stress and inflammation in the vascular and musculoskeletal systems, protecting both joints and blood vessels from degenerative changes that impair mobility. Let's pause here to frame this in practical terms. Chronic low-grade inflammation accelerates muscle loss. It stiffens joints, restricts range of motion, and slows down recovery. and it quietly saps the vitality from your legs, sometimes before you feel true weakness. The beauty of addressing inflammation through these vitamins is that you're not simply masking symptoms. You're addressing a root cause at the cellular level. A simple tool to apply is this. Ensure you're consistently taking adequate vitamin D3, 2,000 to 4,000 IU, vitamin B12, 500 to 1,000 milligrams methylcobalamin, and vitamin K2, 100 to 200 milligrams MK7 daily. Combine these nutrients with light, regular movement, even 20-30 minutes of daily walking can powerfully reduce inflammatory markers. Stay hydrated, as dehydration can concentrate inflammatory byproducts in your tissues. Prioritize anti-inflammatory foods, leafy greens, fatty fish rich in omega-3s, berries, and olive oil all complement your vitamin support. Limit processed sugars and trans fats, which amplify inflammation. If this science resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe. This channel is dedicated to breaking down complex biology into simple, actionable tools that can change your life after 60. The key takeaway is this. By targeting inflammation proactively with these vitamins, you not only reduce discomfort, you create an internal environment where your muscles, joints, and nerves can function at their best, giving you stronger legs and greater freedom to move confidently through life. At this point, you've learned the powerful individual roles that vitamins D3, B12, and K2 play in strengthening your legs after 60. But here's where things get truly transformative. How you combine, time, and stack these nutrients can significantly amplify their benefits. You see, the human body operates on rhythms, biological clocks that regulate absorption, utilization, and recovery. When you align your vitamin intake with these natural rhythms, you create synergy that supports muscle strength, nerve function, and joint health far more effectively than taking these nutrients haphazardly. Let's begin with the most foundational principle. Morning is your metabolic ignition point. Your muscles, mitochondria, and nervous system are most active during the day, taking the majority of your supportive nutrients earlier in the day, especially vitamins D3 and K2, allows them to be absorbed and integrated when your body is primed for activity and repair. A simple protocol to apply is this. Vitamin D, 3 to 3,000 to 4,000 IU. Vitamin K, 2. MK7 forms, healthy fat source, olive oil, avocado, eggs, or nuts to support absorption. Magnesium, 200 to 400 mg glycinate or malate form to aid calcium handling and muscle relaxation. By pairing D3 and K2 together, you ensure that the extra calcium your gut absorbs under the influence of D3 is properly directed into bones and muscles while staying out of joints and arteries. Midday or early afternoon, vitamin B12, methylcobalamin 230 milligram nutrient lingual, taken earlier in the day. B12 may also support cognitive alertness, energy, and nerve function throughout your active hour. Hydration protocol. Stay well hydrated throughout the day, as hydration supports nutrient transport and joint lubrication. Movement synergy. After taking your nutrients, aim for 20 to 30 minutes of light physical activity such as walking, light resistance training, or balance exercises. This stimulates blood flow, enhances nutrient delivery to your muscles and nerves, and signals your mitochondria to build capacity, a process called mitochondrial biogenesis. Evening support. Omega-3 fatty acids, patented to 2,000 milligrams, supports inflammation control and joint health during overnight repair. Now, why is this daily rhythm so effective? Because you're feeding your body at the precise times it's best prepared to utilize these nutrients for muscle recovery, nerve repair, and joint protection. Rather than allowing inflammation or nutrient deficiencies to chip away at your leg strength silently, you're proactively creating an internal environment optimized for growth, repair, and resilience. You might be wondering, How quickly can I expect to feel a difference? Based on current research, many seniors report improvements in balance, stamina, and reduced joint stiffness within 4 to 12 weeks of consistently following protocols like this, though full benefits may continue building for several months as your body fully replenishes depleted nutrient stores. The empowering truth is this: with the right nutritional support, you are not simply a passive observer of aging. You're actively influencing the very biology that controls your ability to walk, climb, balance, and move with freedom well into your later years. As we've explored together, leg strength after 60 is not just a matter of getting older. It's a complex, beautifully orchestrated interaction between your muscles, your nerves, your joints, and your mitochondria, all influenced by the nutrients you provide your body each day. Let's briefly recap what the science shows. Vitamin D3 is your muscle nerve connector, enhancing neuromuscular signaling, stabilizing calcium metabolism, and reducing fall risk. Vitamin B12 is your nervous system protector, safeguarding myelin sheaths, improving nerve conduction, and preventing the subtle losses of coordination that can undermine leg strength. Vitamin K2 is your calcium traffic controller, guiding calcium into your bones while preventing dangerous deposits in arteries and joints, preserving flexibility and mobility. Together, these vitamins work synergistically to power your mitochondria, the energy engines inside your muscle fibers, fueling every step you take. And equally important, they calm the chronic low-grade inflammation that so often erodes joint health, muscle recovery, and overall energy with age. But here's what's truly empowering. This isn't theoretical. This is actionable by following the simple daily protocol we discussed. Timed supplementation paired with proper movement, hydration, and nutrition, you're not only preventing decline, you're actively investing in stronger legs, better balance, and greater independence. The research is crystal clear. Leg strength is one of the most predictive markers of longevity. The ability to rise from a chair, walk confidently, and prevent falls are not simply conveniences. They are lifelines to freedom, purpose, and quality of life as you age. Here's my challenge to you. Starting tomorrow, implement just one part of this protocol. Maybe it's adding vitamin D3 and K2 to your morning routine. Maybe it's checking your B12 levels and starting a sublingual supplement. Maybe it's committing to 20 minutes of daily walking to activate your muscles and mitochondria. Small steps done consistently, backed by powerful science, create extraordinary results over time. And as you begin to feel your legs grow stronger, your balance